Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Time Fantasy Football. You're here with your hosts, Nick and Zach. And today, we're going to be going over 6 rookie sleepers going into this year's dynasty season. Before we get started, please drop a like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. It really goes a long way in helping us grow as a channel so that we can become big time. But, Zach, you want to get us started with the first guy?
Yes, sir. Gonna get right into my first guy. I went with Bucky Irving here. And before I start throwing numbers at you guys, just know we got all of our rankings from Keep Trade Cut. So those are where the numbers we're throwing at you are going to come from. But the reason I said Bucky Irving is he is stepping into the RB2 role almost instantly. Should almost have no competition for it there in Tampa Bay. It was a really inefficient run game last year. I'm just trying to give every single touch to White. So I think they'll kind of dispel that by spreading out a little bit, using Bucky Irving. He's a guy that can catch the ball. He's a good runner, relatively fast. So take some of that pressure off White and give him value. And then if anything does happen to White, then he's obviously stepping right into that role, or should theoretically at least. He's a little bit of a different runner than White, obviously. So it's not foregone closure that he 100% is going to step in that role if something happens, but he's very likely. He's the 33 ranked rookie right now, and he's going as the RB44. So just stepping in as an RB2 right away, I think he has instant value, and you're not spending a lot to go get a guy like Bucky Irving. So I think he's a good steal there.
Yeah, definitely. I like Bucky Irving. He's a little undersized, but I think what they're going to use him for is more of the pass game, getting him out in space, so he can definitely be useful.
Yeah, sure.
Getting into my guy, I went with Tyrone Tracy of the New York Giants, running back for them. He's 24 years old, 5'11", 210, so has a pretty decent build. They picked him up in the 5th round this year. With Saquon being gone, that opens up about 247 carries from last year and about 60 targets in the passing game. Tyrone Tracy used to be a wide receiver when he was at Iowa, and then he transferred over to Purdue and converted to a running back last year, which was his original position out of high school. So he's definitely can do it in the passing game. I think at least at first, Devin Singletary will take over the first and second down role, and he will be more of that third down role pass catcher guy. And he does have the build and has the ability to become that workhorse type of back. But I think even if Devin Singletary holds the RB1 spot on that offense, there's no way they're going to make up for the loss of Saquon Barkley with just one guy, especially if he's the talent level of Devin Singletary. So I think he definitely will have a shot this year, at least to prove himself and carve out a bigger role. But that remains to be seen. So.
Yeah, like you said, Singletary isn't some crazy insurmountable stud. So Tyron Tracy, not a bad pickup for there. They didn't really ball out on the RB position after they had one of the best guys in the league leave. So yeah, not a bad pickup there. My next guy, just a spoiler going ahead, I guess I went all running backs without really realizing. I think you went pretty heavy running backs. So hopefully you guys need running backs because we got you here. But my next guy is Garendo. Guy I'm a big fan of just because first thing is just that he dominated the combine. He showed that he was just like an athletic specimen, so he shot up boards just from that alone. And then his position that he's in is a big thing. I mentioned it before. He's back. He's on the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan run offense, one of the best systems that you can be in as a running back. He's hit and miss on running backs, so it's not for sure that he's a stud, work out, but I like him just because he's backing up CMC. He's a great handcuff. And then CMC has had his injury problems. So if anything does happen to CMC, I think Elijah Mitchell is washed at this point, in my opinion. So I think Grendel will easily get that RB2 spot from him. And then if he does, those are going to be high value touches, high value games that he's going to be able to step in and help out there. So, do you have any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think we both really liked him coming out of the draft process, looking at prospect-wise. And if anything ever happens to him, I think he can step up and fill at least a part-time role. I don't know if what's
Mitchell?
49ers back over in
Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah, I don't know if Elijah Mitchell is really washed just yet, but he'll be able to show his talents. I think he'll at least get some snaps and be able to prove himself out on the field. So I don't hate
And
that
even if
pick at
Mitchell
all.
isn't washed, he also has an injury history. So
Yeah.
um, definitely, multiple ways for Garendo to move up the
Yep.
chart here.
Opportunity and a good offense. So my next guy, I went running back again, Dylan Laub, who got drafted to the Raiders in the 6th round. His really only competition for in that RB room is Zamir White. They did sign Alexander Madison in this offseason, so I guess he's got to compete with him for the RB2 role. But he was a workhorse back in New Hampshire, back in school. It was a smaller school, but he ended up balling out. He did really good there in New Hampshire, so I think with his build, 5'10", 208, he's really stocky, but he's a really good pass catcher. Um, and he can take over that third down role. Alexander Madison can do that as well, but I think he is clearly the better pass catcher out of the two. And if he can, especially with that Raiders offense, I don't think they're going to move down the field very easily. They're probably going to need a lot of third down dump offs and stuff like that. I think he can step into a really good opportunity there. And right now on Keep Trade Cut, he is the RB 65, so he's very cheap and he's just 24 years old, so he still has some time to develop too. And I think he can overtake Zamir White. He's unproven at this moment, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. He's a guy I ignored personally in the draft process. I just overlooked, I should say, more than ignored. I was pretty locked in on Zamir White just as the runner there, and then didn't really do anything with Loud. But definitely someone I'll look into more. I know you've been talking about him a lot recently, so I have to do my due diligence on that one. But the last guy I got here is Estime. He's the 35th ranked rookie, RB 48 overall. And the reason I say that is just because of his situation, like I've been saying, going to the Broncos, being behind Javonte Williams. So I think he's not too likely to take touches directly from Williams, and I don't even think he'll be the number 2 ahead of McLaughlin right away. But this is a theory that I told you, is that he's such a similar runner. He's not the same player, but a similar runner to Javonte Williams, that if something were to happen to Javonte Williams, who's had an injury history as well, that he would jump up to the main runner and then have McLaughlin kind of be the change of pace back, thing there. That's just what's going on in my head, just because of their run styles, their powerful, running styles. So, and going as low as the RB 48 and 35 for rookies, I think he's a good bargain to take a shot at that range.
Yeah, yeah, I like the reasoning there. Sean Payton does like his thunder and lightning type backfield. So if Javonte does miss time or gets hurt, like you said, I think he will jump up to that first, second down role, and then Jalea will keep his third down role.
Yeah.
All right, getting into my last guy. I went receiver this time. Try to change it up for our viewers a little bit instead of all running backs.
Receiver? We do that?
And this is probably our most expensive guy that we have on here, Jermaine Burton, wide receiver. He went to Bama and Georgia, 2 great schools. He had a lot of target competition, and he still produced at a high level with both schools. He ran a 4.45 40-yard dash at the combine, and that's pretty fast. He ended up going to the Bengals 3rd round. So there's a little bit of target competition with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. We'll see what happens with Higgins if he gets his extension, if he ends up just playing under the tag this year and going somewhere else. But I, with that in mind, I do think there is opportunity for him to step into the 2 role if T. Higgins leaves, or at least lock down that wide receiver 3 role for that offense because Tyler Boyd is gone now. And not necessarily are all of his snaps going to come from the slot. I think they might move Jamar Chase to the slot a little bit more, get him some different route packages going there, because Burton's more of an outside receiver. He's 6 foot to 190, so almost 200 pounds. And he's still young, so he has time to develop. And a lot of what I'm seeing out of Bengals OTAs or Burrow talking to him, coaching him up, telling him like what he likes and how he should be running specific routes, which I think goes a lot and gives me confidence in the fact that they could be a very good duo in that offense. So,
Yes,
yes,
for
Jermaine
sure.
Burton.
And Burton as the wide receiver 3. Boyd had, fantasy relevant weeks as a wide receiver 3. So worst case scenario, he has that possibility if he does win that wide receiver 3 job. And Higgins playing under the tag this year, unless he gets that extension. I think from what it's sounding like, I mean, everything can always change, but it sounds like it's almost to the point where it's too far gone for them to work something out. So I think if Higgins does survive this season, I think it might be his last there. And then obviously Burton will still have a few years on his rookie contract, being paired with Joe Burrow. So great guy to be partnered with. And yeah, so I mean, worst and best case scenario, he has a shot to be fantasy relevant. So good pick there. Reason he's the most expensive, but definitely could exceed his price tag easily.
Yep.
So yeah,
He
I think
still went
that's all of our
third
guys,
round in
right?
our rookie draft. So
You said what?
he still went third round in our rookie draft. So I mean, you're still getting him pretty late.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. In the third round is when you start really taking your shots and Hail Marys and playing for upside instead of for sure stuff. So yeah, those are some guys that we recommend targeting, whether it be if you have a draft coming up, startup draft, rookie draft, or just, you want to get traded for some youth on your team, some guys with a good price tag on them for you. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Like we said, we'll have another video out for you this week, and we appreciate you if you stuck around so far. Another thing I mentioned in our last video is that we are going to be doing roster reviews. There's the words for it. Roster reviews soon. So if you have a dynasty team, send them over in the comments, send us an email, and we are, either or, and we will rate your team, tell you what we think about it. We'll give you, I think we'll both do individual ones, right? How we both feel about it. Yeah, do something like that. So yeah, send it over, and big time will do it for you. Yeah, that was a good words. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for watching.